Just focus on real estate. Like put yourself in as many rooms as possible. Just have as many conversations with people that are good at what they do. Put yourself in positions where you're constantly learning. Don't be afraid to admit that you have no idea what you're doing a lot of the time, because I promise you the people you're having conversations with will also encounter those same things. And then just kind of, like I said, put the blinders on. Don't focus on other people and what they're doing, but really just focus on building your business and making it the best that it can be.
Welcome to the Justin Landis Show, your real estate podcast about having conversations, building relationships, and creating freedom. Today, I am here with Enya Absi, a top producing real estate agent at the Justin Landis Group in Bolst. Enya, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Justin. I'm super stoked.
All right.
Super stoked.
Enya, you had, I call it an unconventional path to becoming a real estate agent. Tell everybody what you did before you got into real estate.
Gosh, basically you can list out things that...
What didn't you do before you became a real estate agent?
Precisely. No, I mean, I guess a quick overview is originally from Montreal, went back to Montreal after I graduated high school down in Peachtree City. Went to McGill University for business school, went from there to the University of Edinburgh to study law, and then moved down to London and worked in, the music industry as a business and legal affairs administrator at a record label. And from there, I decided, around 2020 that I wanted to move back to Georgia. That was February of 2020. Didn't intend to stay around here, but then ended up getting stuck because March of 2020 was obviously COVID and the whole world shut down. So,
and you've been stuck here for 6 years.
I've been stuck here for 6 years. Yeah, I did not intend to fall in love with Atlanta as much as I had, but I have, and I'm here, happily stuck. So, so from there, kind of dabbled around in the entertainment industry as well. Worked in film for a bit, worked in music. I am a musician myself, so wanted to kind of take a stab at that. In the meanwhile, was working in the restaurant industry and retail.
You had a couple jobs when you got into real estate.
Couple jobs.
This is maybe a trend we're seeing. Ashton Ernst was on here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
She had 3 jobs when she got her real estate license and started.
I think I have her beat there. I had 5.
Yeah, way to go. And Ashton hates to be beat, so there you go. Let's do it.
For sure. No, it's not a competition whatsoever. I was smothered, but it was fun for sure because I got to wear all the different hats.
Well, so what did it look like to start a real estate career with 5 jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. No, great question. I think I was overwhelmed for sure, but also just had nothing to lose. So at the time, I think was working in the restaurant industry as a hostess, was working as a legal affairs administrator for a personal injury attorney, was also working, Bolst had the front desk open up. And so I was doing that, was doing staging, interior design, et cetera, and then decided.
And so how did you make this untraditional work style work for you?
Yeah, for myself, and I think a lot of people in the industry, we just love to have several hats on because any real estate agent will tell you we're all at once a salesperson as well as a counselor and a psychotherapist and all of the things. So I think for myself, just being able to have so much of the day-to-day look so different was something that kept me motivated and kept me, excited.
You broke through this, but I see a lot of people struggle with it. If they have a lot of things going on, which they like, it can be hard to focus enough on real estate to really break through.
Absolutely.
How did you make that breakthrough? How'd you decide, you're going to be here at Bolst and JOG and start to make that breakthrough in the real estate?
I think, absolutely. Bolst in particular, it just, everything, all the dominoes started to fall at the same time, if you will. So, the front office position opened up and I decided to take that on and work as a receptionist. That kind of put me in a position where I was having conversations with other real estate agents every single day. Everything was, real estate oriented, if you will. And so, I think ultimately just being able to put myself in that position helped me kind of repivot and put the focus on that. So.
And when you started that first year, if I recall, you had a goal to sell 5 houses.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How did you set that goal, and how likely did you think it was that you'd be able to do it on your
I think it was like the imposter syndrome for sure. I think it was also the fact that coming into it, I knew that I was making X amount with this job, X amount with this job. And so the 5 additional houses, working backwards, was just kind of a placeholder for me to know that I could make, that much more.
Yep.
And so obviously, I'm sure we'll get into it. The 5 houses quickly became.
Well, how many houses did you sell in your first?
So my first sale was March of last year, 2025, and I closed out December 31st with 18.
18 in 10 months.
18, yeah.
I mean, that is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, way beyond my expectations.
What were some milestones along the way? I mean, as you think about that journey and just how successful that was, what are some things that stand out?
Yeah. I mean, I have to say none of it would have been possible without the mentorship that I was given. And, we can talk a little bit more about what being on a team meant. But just the fact that I was around so many tenured agents that were so good at what they did really helped kind of bolster that.
Nice job getting bolstered in there.
Thanks. You like that? Yeah. So really helped, just elevate that. Or escalate it.
Well, tell people a little bit more about that. I mean, because you're the type of person, you would probably be successful in almost any environment, yet you picked to be on a team. What was it like to make the decision to be on a team? And now that you've done it, what would you say about for other people who are in that situation to consider?
For sure. I've had multiple conversations, and even when I was interviewing with different agencies, et cetera, I mean, I had other brokers and leads just tell me you would do totally fine as an individual agent. And so I'm like an Excel spreadsheet person. So I had like a lot of like comparisons of like the pros and cons. And ultimately, decided that being on a team, despite all the things that come as cons, like the pay cuts, et cetera, I mean, was incomparable to just starting off as a solo agent and not really having the mentorship and the opportunity that you would get on a team.
What's been, from a mentorship standpoint, what's been the most helpful for you this first?
Gosh, should I name names? No. I mean, from a mentorship standpoint, I mean, like just being on a team in particular, you have these benefits of, some of these, like I said, tenured agents kind of holding your hand and walking you through the entire process and, learning different standards and processes that other agents have and kind of making them your own, right? Yeah. So there was that. Bolst has an amazing program called Elevate and Advance, and that was definitely one of the big factors of me kind of jumping into the brokerage that taught you how to be an agent and how to sell a home. And so through that, the mentors that I got from there and the fact that they sat down with me through the first couple of sales, went through inspection reports, basically drafted my emails for me and told me, so many late night phone calls of being like, hey, please help me. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just, made the whole approach so worth it in the end. So I would definitely recommend that people consider joining a team at the very least. And it doesn't have to be a forever thing, right? We talk about that often, but especially for the first 6 to 12 months, it's so worth it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things that I also know is a challenge the first year, and you mentioned imposter syndrome, there's a lot of like mindset challenges to go through. There's ups and downs. I mean, one of the cool things, Enya, like she said, she's in the office a lot, so we see each other a lot. It can be a good day. It can be a challenging day. I mean, it really can. Right? Like it's up and down. Talk a little bit about how you've worked through like the mindset piece over this first year.
Totally. So I think being around, like I said, those more the pros of the industry, if you will, also has pros and cons to an extent. For example, I came into a year where everybody knew or was having conversations about how difficult it was to be a real estate agent.
Yep.
And I kind of put that to the back of my mind because I was like, okay, this is good to note. I hear what these people are saying, but I'm not going to let it scare me, right? And, I kind of came in with this attitude of, if I can make it work this year, when I'm hearing all of these things about how difficult it is to be an agent, then sky's the limit for the years where things kind of open up. So
yeah, and it was a year where we've had some of the lowest transaction volume in a long time, and you did crush it. So as you think about like what kind of drove you, like what what drove you this last year? And as you think about some of the things that led to that success that you did, but I mean, you're super humble parking, but humility aside, share with people some of the great action you took. Like, what do you think this year, as you kind of look back, or this last year, drove your success?
Yeah, goodness. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's the first thing. I always give it up to God, because it would have not been possible without that. But I do have to say, I mean, we talk about systems and processes on the team all the time, and I kind of don't have any. I don't have any. This year, I know it's really bad, and I'm super embarrassed to say it. But
hey, we said this would be the real talk of this podcast. I appreciate you saying it. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I have my standard processes where I get a lead, and this is how I carry them through kind of the whole
journey,
which is the journey, exactly. But that being said, I think so much of this job is being able to stay on your toes and being able to kind of answer to the whims of the client and kind of their schedule, their availability, et cetera, et cetera. And so that being said, I think so much of that was my willingness to be amenable to them.
Yeah.
And to really put, I guess, my ego aside and put their priorities first. And so, I think a big part of that is people knowing that they could trust me, knowing that I was going to bat for them. And then also just knowing that, throughout the process and afterward, I was as authentic as a person as I could be. And I wasn't salesperson-y and all the stuff. So
I appreciate you using that word. I was actually going to describe, from my observation, your authenticity with people, I think, does provide a lot of trust. And that's the number one thing. I mean, the studies always show it. The people want in their real estate agent is they want someone they can trust. And I think, they can trust you, and you give that off to do it. And then on the flexibility piece, I mean, especially I think for newer agents, to be flexible and roll with it, because sometimes people no-show you and it ends up being a waste of time. Sometimes you show up and you're like, this person is amazing and they're buying a really expensive house. And it could go absolutely either way,
Either way.
But you, from my observation, you've rolled with it, taken the opportunities. And, the more opportunities you get, the better chance that it's going to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just being able to be open to that. And then also, like I said, putting the priority of the client over your own. So for example, if the client tells me, I can afford a $1.3 million house, but they walk into a house at a significantly lower price point, my initial thought not being, oh shoot, I'm going to make so much less money on this. This stinks. No, if you found the house that works for you and your family, let's get it done. And I'm going to negotiate just as I would for a house that's, at that higher price point. So.
Hey, it's Justin with the market update. If you are thinking of buying or selling a home, you have never had more choices in the number of real estate agents that you could pick from. If you're listening to this episode and you're like, hey, I want to work with someone who is generous, someone who is great at what they're doing, someone who is making a difference in the community, reach out to the Justin Landis Group at justinlandisgroup.com. We would love to help you find the right agent for you. All right, now back to the podcast. What do you think is the long-term impact of doing that kind of thing with
clients? Absolutely. I think in terms of the referral business and again, the authenticity piece of people knowing that this is a person that's not just trying to squeeze you for everything that you're worth, but rather someone who you can actually place your trust in, have fun with through the shopping process, et cetera, but also know that, okay, during the negotiation process, she has your best interest in mind. So, I mean, I've had lots of clients. It's an emotional process.
Oh, yes.
Their emotions definitely rise throughout the journey, but I've had a lot of them kind of have sobering moments where they were just like, okay, sorry I had the tantrum, but at the same time, I know you're on my side. So don't worry, I super appreciate you. So yeah, I think it's a genuine way to kind of build a sustainable brand and business for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of that brand, you are building a great brand. What advice would you give to people if they're thinking I want to be authentic, I want to build a brand, but I'm not sure how to do that?
Yeah.
Maybe how have you kind of done it, and what advice would you give to people to do that?
I'm just myself. I really am. And I think that that's the biggest piece that you can it's like, we can talk about disc profiles and personalities all we want and compare ourselves to these other like super high performing agents and wish that we were those people. But ultimately, I mean, the beauty of being a real estate agent is that your business is you, right? And so you need to be as authentic and as much yourself as anything else. And I truly think that the systems and the processes and all of those things will work themselves out over time. So I think one of the things that I tell agents that are kind of starting off is, oh, well, their question is, I want to, have a perfect calendar, or I want to, and we've had conversations before as well. And I think you're never going to know exactly what needs to be done until you're in that moment, right? So I think whether you're 1 year in or 20 years in, the beauty of real estate is you'll always have questions of like, oh, wait, I've never come across this before. And so you're always in that like problem solving mentality. And so, I think just being yourself and answering questions.
I think there's so much wisdom in what you said about not comparing yourself to others. I think this is an industry where, a lot of times people are promoting themselves and we're advertising and we're marketing and we're trying to get more business. And in the real estate agent world, we see other real estate agents doing it. And it's really hard not to look at the other real estate agents. How do you protect yourself from that comparison trap with other people?
Absolutely. Because comparison really, truly is the thief of joy. So for me, it's like just putting blinders on and focusing on what I have in front, because I think it's not fair to my clients as well and my future clients if I'm constantly thinking about, well, I want to be more like this person and I want to, just like be anything that's other than myself. So I think just having those blinders on, focusing on making your business the best thing that it can possibly be, and not focusing on, trying to emulate someone else's success is
because it's so counterintuitive because you think like, oh, this person's successful, I need to be like that. But then you're not yourself. You're not authentic.
Exactly.
Which actually makes people want to be with you less.
Exactly. Precisely. So I remember joining the team and like being around all of these other super successful agents. And I remember having a chat with one of my cohort buddies that was I was saying, I might not like being on a team because I'll probably be jealous of these people throughout the process and feel like I'm not doing everything that I need to do. But that was a mindset shift that like shifted very quickly after, right? Because I realized very quickly that if I was constantly comparing myself to other people's business, I wouldn't really get anywhere. So.
And then I think once you get to know a lot of the people, which is hard to do if you're watching their marketing or their social media bid, like once you get to know Ashton and Lauren and Amy and Casey and you realize, oh, they're like really helpful. They're like normal people. They're really helpful. They want to share. Come on an appointment with me. I'll help you with this. But until you actually get to know people, it's hard to know that because that's not the social media or marketing piece persona.
Absolutely. And I think so much of our business is caught up in that like social media persona, especially like for people that are kind of more in the, I guess, millennial and lower, ages.
Younger age,
Exactly. So, so that being said, just really focusing on, removing yourself from those things and focusing on the day-to-day and how you can show up for people as best as possible.
Man, I love that. Enya, I am so proud of you this last year. I mean, this is we've been around so many agents, joined the business over my 20-year career. This is one of the best years anybody's had in their first year. And like we were talking earlier, it wasn't the easiest year to do that. So if you were going to give advice, somebody's listening right now who is either about to get their license, thinking about getting their license, just got their license, they want to have a great first year. Give them some advice from the success you just had.
Gosh, just focus on real estate. Like put yourself in as many rooms as possible. Just have as many conversations with people that are good at what they do. Put yourself in positions where you're constantly learning. Don't be afraid to admit that you have no idea what you're doing a lot of the time, because I promise you the people you're having conversations with will also encounter those same things. And then just kind of, like I said, put the blinders on. Don't focus on, other people and what they're doing, but really just focus on building your business and making it the best that it can be.
It's such great advice. And I was actually thinking as you were saying that, we mentioned this, but didn't talk about it in detail.
Yeah.
You worked at the front desk at Bolst, and we have this program called Office Ambassadors.
Yes.
As opposed to having someone who is their full-time job to sit at the front desk, we have agents fill that role at our 2 offices. And when we first started, we weren't sure how it was going to go, but it has been a massive success. All of the agents who have done it have grown their business. And I think that has a lot to do with being here, just physically being here.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
I would 100% agree. I think so much of us, so much of the agents that I know will constantly say oh, I'm plagued with ADD. But I honestly think ADD is a superpower as an agent because it does allow you to focus on so many different things at so many different times. But the fact that I had, these designated days during the week where I was just sitting at a desk from 9 to 5, of course, having conversations, picking up the phone, et cetera, but really.
But there's also time. There's plenty of downtime that you're working on your business.
It's purely administrative, and I think
anyone could come into the office. You don't have to have this job to do it. So anyone could replicate that.
Absolutely. And so I do recommend. We have the resources. People can come and sit and have conversations with other people. And so much of what Bolst, and so much of what is important to me about Bolst is that it is such a collaborative environment. And so you can go sit down across from an agent that you've never spoken about and just spoken to and start speaking about a transaction you're having. And they can have advice or can just be a venting buddy, et cetera, where you don't necessarily have that same environment at other brokerages. So
awesome. I love it, Enya. Thanks so much for being here today. Your story is super inspiring.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to share it.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks for having me. I'm stoked.
Thanks for listening to this conversation with Enya. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and we will see you again next week.